Welcome back to the show, everybody. Take a look at these numbers while we run the headlines here. We got Ron Hammond, Celsius, BlackRock CEO, sovereign debt crisis. What are we talking about now? China, BRICS. We got Triffin dilemma, Jevons Paradox. Can Ripple really be the key element to unlock the liquidity crisis for the great financial reset? We got Rosie Rios as well. She chose Ripple, ladies and gentlemen. This economy needs innovation to recover. It needs jobs. She says that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for exclusive content right now. $971 billion market cap plus it's CoinPeprika. Shout out to them for the numbers. Man, tongue-tied today. $19,400 for Bitcoin, $1,300 plus for Ethereum. XRP is 45 cents at the number 6 spot. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't checked it out, it's rollover October for iTrust Capital. Don't mess around. Reach out to them. Roll over your 401k or anything else you may have. And you know what? Check out the staking that's available for 9.5% APY. Come on in. Yeah, tell them Brad sent you. Click the link underneath the video for more information. Ron Hammond says, very interesting for a lot of reasons that today SEC Gary Gensler charged Kim Kardashian for unlawfully touting a crypto security. She's already agreed to pay a little more than $1 million for doing so. But the timing of this news, he says, is one to consider. It is the first day of the new fiscal year. Enforcement action before markets open, rare. And going after a popular celebrity, these communications or comms rollouts are intentional for max media coverage. There's no doubt about that. And I say the max media coverage was to cover up the Federal Reserve emergency meeting that went on today about a liquidity crisis happening around the world, which really existed before the pandemic came into play. But that's another video for another day. But we got more information coming. So right here, this is really for anyone who was on Celsius. First, it came from Hugo Filion and now retweeted and shared from Jeremy Hogan. Appreciate both of you. It says, if you lost money in Celsius, you can search for whether you are listed as a creditor on the link provided there. It's on my Twitter as well. If you're not listed, you may want to file a proof of claim, which the form is provided there underneath right here. So there you have it. And same is encouraged here by Hugo originally. Check that out if you have been damaged in any way. All right, take a look at this. BlackRock CEO says the Ukraine war could speed up digital currency adoption. Only a guy, more than $11 trillion assets under management want to see the positive coming out of this thing. You know, look, here's a bigger issue. The bigger issue is, and I'm not saying anything that Larry Fink doesn't know, is that there is, in fact, a liquidity crisis happening around the globe and has been for some time. And the printing of the money through the shutdown of the economies, and everybody knows the story, has only exacerbated the situation. That's exactly what we're talking about here. And to add to that, I think a good way to sum that up is Molly Elmore has another one of her incredible threads here. I'm just going to give you the diagram. You should read the whole thread. Sovereign debt crisis is debt issued, by governments to borrow money for necessary expenses. Sovereign debt may be owed to foreigners or to the country's own citizens, can be denominated in domestic currency as well as foreign ones. Energy is sold globally in dollars. When the value of the dollar rises relative to a nation's currency, energy becomes more expensive due to exchange rate. A nation has to take out a loan, sovereign debt, if it doesn't have the cash to pay for energy. Now, this is all touching on the moment we're in with the fact that pretty much the majority of Europe gets their gas and oil from a place called Russia. And now we're running into a real problem because we had a liquidity crisis to start with, and now we're creating an energy crisis. The inflation's coming into this scenario. No, I'm not an economist, and you don't have to be either to see what kind of storm is in front of us here. And I don't believe that it is mutually exclusive to one area of the country or the world, right? It is a cascading effect that I believe has already started to happen through China, other different areas of the world. We've talked about it. The UK recently here experiencing difficulty. Federal Reserve having an emergency meeting today. China tells state banks to prepare for a massive dollar dump. And what would they be doing that for? Well, they would be doing that to try to salvage their own currency, as according to Reuters right here as well. China told state-owned banks to get ready to sell dollars to buy yuan in an effort to prop up the local currency. That's what's happening. See, then when they say, so you get this whole thing happening where the dollar actually goes deflationary and really high. As inflation's happening, the dollar strength index is going way up. But what you're running into is you're seeing all the other countries around the world be crushed by that fact. And at some point, they'll begin dumping U.S. treasuries that they hold to try to salvage their own currency problem. And then that may cause the biggest problem for the U.S. dollar to ever be felt to date, known as the Triffin dilemma. Right? And if that happens, then we're really talking about ushering in a new system, a new Bretton Woods, which I think is certainly plausible, certainly worth having a conversation. That we may see a gold put back behind the monetary fiat monetary system. That would cause a repricing of gold, I would imagine, possibly to a very high price, I'm guessing, but this is just one of the paths forward. We are going to move, I believe, to a multi-currency, multipolar, multi-currency world. There's no question. How long it sits that way? Maybe forever. I don't know. But what I do know is that we're getting ever so closer to moving to a system where there may be, in fact, at some point, a non-state-backed money that is adopted by government or governments to facilitate what you see here. And it won't be just exclusive to BRICS or the SDR basket. I believe it would open up and become basically the way the world would move. Something like an XRP in the middle. I'm speculating. The Triffin dilemma, for those of you who don't know, very quickly here, because I want to keep moving. We got just a bit more to go over, and Rosie Rios is on fire. You're going to want every bit of it. But the Triffin dilemma is basically a paradox, a conflict of economic interests that arise between short-term domestic and long-term international objectives for countries whose currencies serve as a global reserve currency as the US dollar does. That's the long and short of it. And I remind you of the Dodd-Frank Act, which gave birth to FSOC, which I talk about all the time, which is a prudential regulator, sits above the market regulators like the SEC and the CFTC. But careful, Gary Gensler is on FSOC. But Dodd-Frank in general also allows for something like this to happen. OLA, which is called the Orderly Liquidation Authority, to be used only when the Fed, FDIC, Treasury, in consultation with the president, of course, declare a financial emergency. And under the OLA, FDIC, and the Fed are provided tools to help resolve failing firms safely in a way analogous to the approach to the FDIC has had long used to resolve failing banks. That's the moment we're in. This is the kind of conversations that are going on. But what's going to get us out of it is, I believe, Jevons Paradox. And I also greatly believe, my speculation, that Ripple and XRP... One second. Okay, so I also believe Ripple and XRP can greatly, I think, become, or certainly have the opportunity to follow the path to become, however you want to say it, one of the key components for the Jevons Paradox. And very quickly, I just want to give you a few seconds of this video to hip everybody up to what it is.
This is Jevons Paradox, named after the English economist William Stanley Jevons. In 1865, he noted that the improved efficiency of steam engines didn't decrease the consumption of coal. Instead, coal was used in more industries, increasing total consumption, which made him worry that England would run out of coal faster because it was used more efficiently.
And see, and there it is right there, right? So when you have a resource, right, that gets used and more consumptive because of the efficiency that's brought to what was using the resource, like the steam engine. They didn't want to hardly use it in the beginning because it cost too much to operate. Once they made it more efficient to use, they actually found they wanted to use it more because they could use it for so many things. It became more consumptive. I believe Ripple and their suite of products, along with the complement of XRP, can certainly play a role in Jevons Paradox. And I believe that in strong part because of this. ISO 20022. It is the de facto standard modern language for the financial system. There are many different ISO languages and codes that are used. But it is this standardization and having Ripple be a part of this standards body and committee as a member of Distributed Ledger Technology and now along with Stellar Foundation as well. I see this and think to myself, there's that standardization that lies within the financial system to have a great financial reset. There's that one of the many technical components that needs to take place in the form of standardization. The same thing went on in the shipping industry. That's why there's shipping containers in this picture. Because it is, in fact, that standardization to the shipping industry that actually drove the cost of goods and stuff down. Because they went to a standardized format of container, trucks to carry it, forklifts to pick them up, cranes to get them off the ships to be in a size and built in a manner to carry these in an efficient way. The ports designed in a manner to access all of these things. That standardization is being brought to the financial system for a great financial reset, I believe. Ripple and XRP will be a part of it. Just like I understand they talk about the goal, they recently signed this pledge to be zero carbon emissions by 2040 with the carbon neutral ledger, XRP ledger. Great goal. But I also happen to believe that beyond that goal itself, it is about the truth underneath of this zero carbon emissions, which is a worthy goal of note. It's certainly worthy in its own right. But isn't it also that we need that standardization of whether it's ISO 20022 or the interoperability of different value protocols being added into the financial system like a SWIFT and other places? I believe so. I believe it can't happen without all of these things. You know, when I look at all of this, what I'm seeing is a moment, just like SWIFT, and I covered this morning, but ISO 20022, a standard for communicating financial information that is being adopted for cross-border payments across the SWIFT community from November this year. That's the new CEO right there. That standardization is now taking place as I believe we witnessed it happen in the industrial age, as we witnessed it happen in the shipping industry, further developments in the automobile industry for efficiency, right? We're seeing it now in the financial system. And then that brings us right here. What a great interview and segment here from my brother from another mother. It's fellow Kryptonaire producer, co-producer, Dustin Planholt, talking with none other than Ripple advisor, Rosie Rios. Take a listen.
I chose Ripple. I had a lot of options, but I chose them because they have a functional role. So they facilitate cross-border payments. It's one of their functions with XRP. So it's not just some floating asset out there. They actually have a purpose, right? And so you know, it was the right choice for me. Someone else might have some
So
other
I'm in the
choice.
XRP army.
Okay,
just to let you
yay,
know.
excellent,
I'm a firm believer of the utility component.
Excellent.
And hopefully this thing going on right now, the SEC will go away soon.
I think what President Biden's executive order that he announced in March to have this kind of reconnaissance of digital assets for this calendar year is an important one. It may not get to very specific recommendations, but I think the best you're going to hope for, at least today, is at least a path forward.
Sure.
How do you start these conversations? How do you, one of my favorite phrases that you'll hear me quote all the time is, the train's already left the station. Blockchain is here to stay.
Absolutely.
Because of fractional real estate, art, NFTs, whatever. It's here to stay. But how do we lay the tracks?
Absolutely.
How do you
and
lay
I've never
the
heard the
tracks?
other side of the table, but I imagine both sides are trying to figure out, like, we're trying to figure out
Absolutely.
the rule book. Like, we're trying to
Absolutely.
figure, it's never been done.
Look, and here's the thing.
It's very challenging on both sides.
This economy needs innovation to recover. It needs jobs.
And there you have it right there. And I believe that through the adoption of value protocols in this moment we're crossing into, which is going to have to deal with sovereign debt crises and liquidity issues and everything else to come with it, we're going to need innovation to recover. And that's going to mean the birth of a new digital age, the fourth industrial revolution, which includes blockchain and distributed ledger technology. And yes, I'm guessing, but I think it also really contains XRP and Ripple as well. Look, that's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. That's where we are on this day. Check out all the links underneath the video, the great products and services I use each and every day. And by the way, yes, they are sponsors. You know this. But look, you know what? Some of these things have great specials and deals. And that's why I try to get those things for you. So make sure you check out those links. I'll catch all of you on the next one.